Ancient structures stand across the world, built with techniques we still can't fully explain. Some are carved from a single rock, others align perfectly with the stars, and a few seem almost impossible for their time. So who built them?
Join us as we uncover 16 unbelievable mysterious buildings that continue to baffle experts today. Nan Madal. Nan Madal is one of the most mysterious ancient sites in the world. Located on the island of Pohnpei in Micronesia, it is often called the Venice of the Pacific because it consists of more than 100 artificial islands connected by a network of canals. Unlike other ancient cities, Nan Madal was built directly on the water, which makes it unique and puzzling. The site is widely believed to have been the political and religious center of the Sodelur dynasty, which ruled Pohnpei roughly between 1100 and 1628 CE. It served as a political and religious center, housing the ruling elite and possibly functioning as a ceremonial site. Despite extensive studies, many details about its construction remain unknown. One of the biggest mysteries is how the massive basalt stones used in its construction were transported and placed. Some of these blocks weigh up to 50 tons, and there is no clear explanation for how the builders moved them across the island's rough terrain and open water. No evidence of wheels, pulleys, or large animals being used for transport has been found. Some researchers hypothesize that the builders may have used rafts or canoes to transport the stones, but there is no definitive evidence to confirm this method. Others believe that the stones were dragged over land using ropes and wooden rollers. However, no definitive proof supports any of these ideas. The stones were carefully stacked in a log cabin style, with long rectangular slabs placed horizontally to form walls. This construction method provided stability and strength, allowing the structures to withstand centuries of weather and environmental changes. The Temple of Giants. Ggantija is one of the oldest temple complexes in the world, located on the island of Gozo in Malta. Built between 3600 and 3200 BCE, it is even older than Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Despite being thousands of years old, parts of the structure are still standing today. The name Ggantija comes from a local legend that says giants built the temple. This is because the limestone blocks used in construction are massive, some weighing over 50 tons. The people who built the temple had no metal tools, yet they managed to carve, transport, and stack these stones with great precision. How they achieved this remains a mystery. The temple consists of two large structures, surrounded by a wall. The buildings have a series of rooms, some shaped like large circular chambers. Archaeologists believe these rooms were used for religious ceremonies. Evidence of animal bones has been found at the site, suggesting that people performed animal sacrifices. These rituals were likely part of their worship, possibly honoring fertility or nature gods. Ggantija was an important spiritual center for the people who built it. The way the temple was designed suggests that they carefully planned its construction. Some researchers think the layout may have been connected to the movement of the sun and stars like other ancient sites around the world. Despite being so ancient, Ggantija is well preserved. Chaco Canyon. Chaco Canyon is an ancient site in New Mexico, USA, built by the ancestral Puebloans between 900 and 1150 CE. It was once a major center of culture, trade, and possibly astronomy. The massive structures built here, especially Pueblo Bonito, show the skill and knowledge of the people who lived in the area. Pueblo Bonito is one of the largest and most impressive buildings in Chaco Canyon. It had over 600 rooms and multiple stories, making it one of the biggest buildings in North America at the time. The people who built it did not have modern tools, yet they managed to design and construct complex structures that have lasted for centuries. One of the most fascinating things about Chaco Canyon is how it was aligned with astronomical events. The buildings and roads were designed to match the movements of the sun and moon. On the solstices and equinoxes, sunlight would hit specific points in the structures, marking important times of the year. A famous example of this is the Sun Dagger Rock Formation. This natural rock feature, with carefully placed stone slabs, creates patterns of light and shadow that track the movement of the sun. The ancestral Puebloans may have used it as a calendar to mark planting and harvesting seasons. There are many theories about why Chaco Canyon was built. Some believe it was a religious center where people gathered for ceremonies. Others think it was an observatory used to study the sky. Some researchers suggest it was a major trade hub where people exchanged goods like pottery, turquoise, and food. Callanish Stones. The Callanish Stones are an ancient site in Scotland located in the Outer Hebrides. They were built around 3000 BCE, making them over 5,000 years old. This site is often compared to Stonehenge because it is also made up of large standing stones, but it has its own unique design and purpose. There are more than 50 massive stones arranged in a cross shape, with a central circle at the heart of the site. Some of the stones are nearly 15 feet tall, and they were placed with great care. The people who built them did not have metal tools, yet they managed to transport and set up these heavy stones in precise positions. One of the most fascinating things about the Callanish stones is their connection to astronomy. The stones are aligned with the movements of the moon, sun, and stars. Some researchers believe that the site was used as an ancient observatory to track the lunar cycle, which takes about 18.6 years to complete. The positioning of the stones may have helped people predict eclipses, solstices, and other important celestial events. There are also theories that the site was used for religious or ceremonial purposes. Some experts suggest that people gathered here for rituals, celebrations, or even burial ceremonies. The Callanish stones might have had spiritual significance for the ancient people who lived in the area. Although we may never know the exact reason why the Callanish stones were built, their design and alignment show that the people who created them had a deep understanding of the sky. Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan is an ancient city in Mexico, built between 100 BCE and 600 CE. At its peak, it was one of the largest cities in the world, with a population between 100,000 and 200,000 people. It was an advanced and well-planned city, with a grid layout, large roads, and organized residential areas. The people who lived here created impressive structures, but no one knows for sure who built the city. One of the most famous landmarks in Teotihuacan is the Pyramid of the Sun, which stands 213 feet tall. It is one of the largest pyramids in the world. Nearby is the Pyramid of the Moon, which is slightly smaller, but still an incredible structure. These pyramids were likely used for religious ceremonies, but their exact purpose remains a mystery. The city also had many temples, plazas, and palaces. Archaeologists believe that the elite lived in large, decorated residences, while common people lived in smaller homes. The streets were designed in a grid pattern, which shows that the builders had a strong knowledge of urban planning. The city even had a complex water system. One of the biggest mysteries of Teotihuacan is its decline. By 600 CE, the city started to weaken, and by 750 CE, it was completely abandoned. Some believe that internal conflicts or environmental changes caused its fall. Others think that invaders may have played a role. Despite its decline, later civilizations like the Aztecs still visited the ruins and gave it the name Teotihuacan, meaning the city of the gods. Pumapunku. Pumapunku is part of the larger Tiwanaku archaeological complex in Bolivia and is believed to have been constructed between 500 and 1000 CE by the Tiwanaku culture. What makes it so special is the way its massive stone blocks were cut and arranged. Some of these stones weigh over 100 tons, yet they fit together so precisely that even a razor blade cannot pass between them. The site is famous for its H-shaped blocks, which look like they were made using modern machinery. Each block has smooth surfaces, sharp edges, and precise holes that seem too advanced for the time.
Clearly, of lost high technology. We see laser perfection drilled holes.
The Tiwanaku people did not have metal tools, yet they managed to carve and transport these gigantic stones. Experts are still unsure how they achieved such precision. The stones used at Pumapunku are made of andesite, a very hard volcanic rock. Cutting and shaping such stone would have been extremely difficult using simple tools. Some researchers believe the builders used a combination of chiseling, sanding, and possibly even unknown techniques. Others suggest that the Tiwanaku people may have had a lost method for working with stone. Another mystery is how these enormous blocks were transported. Some of them came from quarries miles away. Without wheels or strong animals, moving them would have been a massive challenge. The exact method remains unknown. Pumapunku was likely an important part of the Tiwanaku civilization, possibly used for religious or ceremonial purposes. Today, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and continues to puzzle archaeologists. Stonehenge. Stonehenge is one of the most famous ancient monuments in the world. It was built around 2500 BCE in Wiltshire, England. The site consists of massive stones arranged in a circular pattern, and its purpose remains a mystery. The monument is made up of two types of stones. The larger ones, called sarsen stones, weigh around 25 tons each. These stones were likely brought from about 20 miles away. The smaller ones, called blue stones, came from Wales, nearly 200 miles away. How people transported such heavy stones over such long distances without modern tools is still unknown. Some theories suggest they used wooden sledges, rollers, or even boats. One of the most fascinating things about Stonehenge is its connection to astronomy. The monument is carefully aligned with the summer solstice. On the longest day of the year, the sun rises directly above one of the stones, known as the heel stone. This suggests that the builders understood the movement of the sun and may have used Stonehenge as a type of calendar. Experts have many ideas about why Stonehenge was built. Some believe it was a burial site, as human remains have been found nearby. Others think it was a religious temple where ancient people performed rituals. Some even suggest it was used to track the changing seasons, helping early farmers know when to plant and harvest crops. Despite centuries of study, Stonehenge remains a mystery. It continues to attract visitors from around the world who wonder about its true purpose. Whether it was a temple, a calendar, or something else entirely, it stands as one of the greatest achievements of the ancient world. Great Zimbabwe. Great Zimbabwe is an ancient city in Zimbabwe built between 1100 and 1450 CE. It was once a powerful kingdom and home to about 20,000 people. These grand ruins offer a glimpse into Africa's remarkable past. One of the most impressive features of Great Zimbabwe is the Great Enclosure. This is a large circular wall made of stone blocks stacked without any mortar. The wall is about 36 feet tall and over 800 feet long. Even after centuries, much of it remains standing today. The builders carefully shaped the stones to fit perfectly together, showing remarkable skill. Great Zimbabwe was an important trade center. It connected Africa to major trade routes that stretched to the Middle East, India, and even China. Archaeologists have found items like Chinese porcelain, Arab coins, and glass beads from India at the site. This shows that the people of Great Zimbabwe traded gold, ivory, and other goods with distant lands. The city's wealth came mainly from its control of gold mining and trade. The rulers of Great Zimbabwe likely lived in the hill complex, a series of stone structures on a rocky hill. This area may have been the political and religious center of the kingdom. The people followed spiritual traditions, but little is known about their exact beliefs. Great Zimbabwe's decline is still a mystery. Some believe it was due to the overuse of resources, while others think trade routes changed. By the 1500s, the city was abandoned. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a source of pride for Zimbabwe, whose name means House of Stone. Nabta Playa. Nabta Playa is an ancient site in Egypt that dates back between 10,000 and 8,000 years ago. It is one of the world's oldest known stone circles, built long before Stonehenge. Located in the Sahara Desert, it was once a fertile land where early humans settled. The site has a circle of stones carefully arranged to align with the summer solstice. This suggests that it was used as an astronomical calendar. By marking the position of the sun, people could track the arrival of the rainy season, which was important for survival. The area once had lakes and supported life, but over time the climate changed and the desert took over. The people who lived at Nabta Playa were cattle herders. Archaeologists have found evidence that they worshipped cattle, similar to later cultures in Africa. Burials of cows in stone-lined pits suggest that cattle had a deep spiritual meaning. This could be one of the earliest signs of animal worship in human history. Besides the stone circle, the site has large stone slabs standing upright. Some believe these stones may have been part of religious ceremonies or gatherings. The people of Nabta Playa also built underground water storage systems, showing their ability to adapt to changing environments. By around 5,000 years ago, the climate had become too dry, and the people moved elsewhere. However, their knowledge of astronomy and cattle worship may have influenced later Egyptian civilization. Some researchers even believe that Nabta Playa was an early step toward the religious and scientific advancements seen in ancient Egypt. Longyou Caves. The Longyou Caves in China are one of the biggest mysteries in archaeology. Longyou Caves, believed to be over 2,000 years old, have no surviving historical records of their construction, leaving their origins a mystery. No one knows who built them, why they were made, or how such a massive project was completed. There are 24 caves in total, covering about 300,000 square feet. The walls are perfectly smooth, the corners are sharp, and the chisel marks are uniform across the entire surface. This level of precision is surprising, especially for a time when no advanced tools were available. The caves are also strong enough to have lasted for centuries without collapsing. Another mystery is how the builders removed such a huge amount of rock. Experts estimate that millions of cubic feet of stone had to be taken out, yet no remains of this rock have ever been found. If the caves were used as living spaces, storage, or temples, there should be some artifacts, but none have been discovered. Even more puzzling is the lack of historical mention. Ancient China had detailed records of construction projects, yet no writings mention the Longyou Caves. This suggests that either the caves were built in complete secrecy or their purpose was lost over time. Some researchers believe the caves may have been used for religious ceremonies, underground cities, or even as a giant water reservoir. However, without written evidence or artifacts, their true purpose remains unknown. Derinkuyu. Derinkuyu is an incredible underground city in Cappadocia, Turkey. It may have origins dating back to the Hittites or Phrygians, with major expansions occurring during the early Christian period. The city extends about 200 feet below the surface and could house up to 20,000 people, along with their animals and supplies. Derinkuyu wasn't just a collection of tunnels, it was a fully functioning city. There were living quarters, storage rooms, chapels, kitchens, and even schools. The builders created a complex network of ventilation shafts to ensure fresh air reached the lower levels. Wells provided water, and there were even wine and oil presses, showing that people lived here for long periods. One of the most fascinating features of Derinkuyu is its defensive design. The city could be completely sealed off from the outside using massive circular stone doors. These heavy doors, which could only be opened from the inside, protected the inhabitants from invaders. Narrow tunnels were designed to slow down attackers, forcing them to move in a single file, making it easier to defend the city. Historians believe Derinkuyu was built by the Phrygians, or early Anatolian civilizations, and later expanded by early Christians who used it as a refuge from Roman persecution. Over the centuries, the city was used as a hiding place during wars and invasions. Derinkuyu remained hidden for a long time and was only rediscovered in 1963 when a local man found a hidden room behind a wall in his house. Excavations revealed the vast underground city beneath his home. Visitors can now explore Derinkuyu, a testament to the remarkable engineering and resilience of its builders. Gobekli Tepe. Gobekli Tepe, located in southeastern Turkey, is the world's oldest known temple complex. It was discovered in the 1990s by archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, and it has since been dated to between 9,600 and 8,200 BC. This means it is thousands of years older than Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids. Its early construction date makes it especially fascinating because it comes from a time when humans were thought to be simple hunter-gatherers. One of the most striking features of Gobekli Tepe is its architecture. The site is made up of large limestone pillars arranged in circles. Some of these pillars stand as tall as 18 feet and are decorated with detailed carvings of animals like lions, snakes, and gazelles. The carvings also include strange, abstract symbols that archaeologists still do not fully understand. What's even more incredible is that each of these stones weighs between 7 and 10 tons. How the builders transported and erected these enormous stones is a complete mystery, especially since they had no access to wheels, metal tools, or advanced technology. Adding to the puzzle, there is no sign of a permanent settlement near Gobekli Tepe. Typically, ancient temples were built by communities that had developed agriculture and could stay in one place. However, the people who built Gobekli Tepe lived before farming was common. which means they would have had to carry food and materials over long distances. Evidence of animal bones found at the site suggests that large feasts and perhaps even sacrifices took place here, likely as part of religious or social rituals. The purpose of Gobekli Tepe is still debated and theories abound. Some scholars suggest that it could have been built by a group with lost knowledge or that early humans were far more advanced than previously believed. Others think it could have been constructed using unknown techniques or tools. Whatever the case, Gobekli Tepe forces historians and archaeologists to rethink what they know about early human civilization and religion. This ancient temple remains one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world, and its secrets may not be fully understood for many years to come. Tomb of China's first emperor. The mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China.
He would go on to become Qin Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of China, after uniting its 7 warring kingdoms.
Is one of the most fascinating and mysterious sites in the world. Emperor Qin Shi Huang ruled from 246 to 210 BC and is best known for unifying China and building the first version of the Great Wall. He began planning his tomb soon after taking the throne, and construction took around 36 years. The tomb complex covers a massive 22 square miles, making it one of the largest burial sites ever built. One of the most famous features of this mausoleum is the terracotta army. These are nearly 8,000 life-size statues of soldiers, each with unique facial features and clothing. The level of detail is incredible. Every statue seems to have its own personality. The army was created to protect the emperor in the afterlife,
to protect the tomb of China's first emperor in the afterlife,
reflecting the belief that his spirit would need military defense. There are also statues of horses, chariots, and even acrobats to serve the emperor in his next life. Ancient Chinese texts describe the tomb as having rivers and lakes made of mercury to represent the landscape of the emperor's empire. High levels of mercury have indeed been detected in the soil around the tomb, suggesting that these descriptions could be true. Additionally, hidden chambers and booby traps were reportedly installed to protect the tomb from robbers, further complicating efforts to excavate it. Despite its grandeur, much of the tomb remains unexplored. Archaeologists fear that opening the burial chamber could damage its delicate contents. Modern technology is not yet advanced enough to guarantee preservation if excavation takes place. The biggest mystery is who built the tomb for the emperor. Historical records suggest that prisoners, forced laborers, and skilled craftsmen all worked on it, but the full extent of their roles remains unclear. The mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang is a symbol of power and ambition, but its secrets may remain hidden for many years to come. Tiwanaku City. Tiwanaku City is one of the most impressive ancient sites in South America. It is located near Lake Titicaca in present-day Bolivia and was once the center of a major pre-Columbian civilization. Archaeologists believe that Tiwanaku flourished between 200 BCE and 1200 CE, although some artifacts found at the site suggest it may have existed even earlier. Despite its importance, much about the Tiwanaku civilization and its people remains unknown. One of the city's most striking features is its advanced architecture. The Akapana Pyramid is a massive stepped mound made of earth and faced with precisely cut andesite stones. This pyramid would have been the central religious structure of the city, possibly used for ceremonies and rituals. Another significant structure is the Kala Sasaya enclosure, which is a large rectangular area surrounded by massive stone columns and smaller rectangular blocks. Within this enclosure stands the famous Gateway of the Sun.
This is the famous Sun Gate at Tiwanaku, and I'm going to film it completely in the round so that you can see every aspect of it.
A large monolithic arch carved from a single piece of stone. The gateway features intricate carvings of a central figure holding staffs, often interpreted as a sun god or religious leader. The carvings also include smaller winged figures that some scholars think represent messengers or deities. The craftsmanship of Tiwanaku's stonework is truly remarkable. The stones were cut with such precision that they fit together without mortar, a technique that was unparalleled in the pre-Columbian Americas. Unfortunately, many of these structures have been damaged over the centuries by treasure hunters and looters, who took stones and destroyed parts of the site. Because of this, it is difficult for archaeologists to determine the original layout of the city. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding Tiwanaku is the lack of written records. Unlike other ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians or the Maya, the Tiwanaku people did not leave behind any texts or inscriptions that explain their culture, beliefs, or history. This leaves many unanswered questions about their society and religion. Some researchers believe that Tiwanaku served as a religious or astronomical center, as many of its structures are aligned with celestial events. Others speculate that the Tiwanaku people may have been ancestors of the modern-day Aymara people of Bolivia. However, some argue that the civilization could have been influenced by an unknown culture or group. Tiwanaku's mysteries continue to captivate archaeologists and historians to this day. Gunung Padang. Gunung Padang, located in West Java, Indonesia, is one of the world's most fascinating ancient sites. Discovered in 1914, it is often called Southeast Asia's oldest pyramid. What makes it even more remarkable is the possibility that it dates as far back as 20,000 BCE, which could make it the oldest structure in the world. The site consists of massive basalt stones arranged in layered terraces. These stones are carefully positioned, creating megalithic blocks that form a stepped structure. The construction techniques seem far more advanced than what was expected at the time. The precision of the stonework, along with the sheer size of the stones, raises questions about how ancient people managed such a feat without modern tools. Several theories surround the purpose of Gunung Padang. Some researchers suggest it may have been a religious site used for ancient ceremonies. Others believe it served as an astronomical observatory, possibly tracking the movement of stars or celestial events. There's also the idea that it was a ritualistic center where important cultural practices took place. Rujm el-Hiri. Rujm el-Hiri, often called the Stonehenge of the Middle East, is a mysterious ancient structure located in the Golan Heights, near Israel and Syria. This fascinating site consists of a series of concentric stone circles surrounding a large burial mound in the center. The outermost circle is massive, measuring about 520 feet across, making it one of the largest and oldest stone monuments in the region. Archaeologists estimate that Rujm el-Hiri dates back to around 3000 BCE, making it roughly the same age as Stonehenge in England. Despite its age, very little is known about the people who built it, or their purpose for doing so. No written records have been found to explain its construction or use. One of the most debated theories about Rujm el-Hiri is its purpose. Some believe it was a burial site due to the central mound, which may have housed the remains of an important figure. Others suggest that it was used for religious ceremonies or rituals. Another theory is that it served as an astronomical observatory, with the stones aligning to the sunrise on the summer solstice. If true, this suggests the site may have functioned as an ancient calendar or ceremonial space tied to celestial events. The mystery of Rujm el-Hiri continues to intrigue archaeologists and researchers. Its size and complexity reveal that its builders had impressive knowledge and organizational skills. Yet much about the site remains a puzzle, leaving us to wonder about the culture and beliefs of the people who created this remarkable structure. And that wraps up our list of 16 unbelievably mysterious buildings built by unknown civilizations. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more mind-blowing history and mysteries.